Okay, I think that's working. Greetings, friends. Welcome back to another episode of Dreamscapes. Today we have our friend Justin here to share a dream with us. And I don't know if you've seen any of my other episodes or if this may be new to some people in the audience. I've got kind of a 3-phase process I go through. First, I'm just going to sit quietly and listen while Justin tells me about his dream. The first thing he can remember after falling asleep, chronologically to the last thing he can remember after waking up. Or before waking up, and then we'll go back through it again, and then we'll try and make sense of it. So, Justin, I'm ready when you are.
Okay. I guess just jump right in. All right, you there?
Yeah, for some reason that's much more stable. It's just crispy. I mean, it gets a little pixelated sometimes, but at least it's smooth, and I can hear you. Yeah. We'll see what happens.
All right, we'll go this way.
Yeah, better than nothing. Better than nothing. So we could just I'll just chop out all the or maybe I'll leave it. Who knows? Maybe that's interesting to the audience. Well, I'll make that decision later. Okay, so you said you were in the foyer of a house and you were asking me how much detail to give. As much as you can remember is fine. You can colors, sounds, smells, sensations, feelings. Whatever you got, I'll take it, and then maybe we can even expand on that a little bit more. So, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I walk into the house, and the very first thing I see is it's kind of like it's a tan beige finish across the entire house, and I always notice every single one of the doorways is open, and it's an archway, and there are quite a bit of entryways, doorways. If I had to describe it, it's more of like an Italian style house with, it looks like a stucco finish, like the outside of a stucco building, with archways all the way for the doors. There's one main entryway that leads me, there's a foyer right there, and it's really big. It's got quite a few people inside of it, but there's an older gentleman who I've never talked to except for this one statement that he always makes to me, which is, you are dangerous because you can come and go as you please. Take that for whatever it's worth. And after I give him my attention and he says that, I start to make my way through the house, but it's almost like I'm not talking to anybody, I'm not acknowledging anybody, but every single one of them knows exactly. Well, they're all taking notice of me, if that makes sense, and it's a very crowded house. It's like a party, if you will. And everyone's talking to each other. No one's talking to me, but everyone's watching me as I go past. And as I'm going through the rooms, I always stay on the outer perimeter. I never walk through the middle of the rooms, through the crowds or anything like that. I walk directly from that foyer through an archway. And after I walk through that archway, I go straight into a kitchen dining room type room. I really don't remember any details, appliances, or anything like that. It's almost like this place is not really a house. It has a house feel, but it's like an event hall. There's no appliances. There's no nothing inside of it. There's tables, chairs, people talking. There's like an island in the middle of the kitchen with a marble finish on top. I'm telling you, I remember details about this place. And I make my way around the party or gathering or whatever you want to call it. And as it's like an L-shaped room. I go through around the kitchen area, which has a sink and that island, like I said. I turn left and I go around, I should say, the dining area. And I kind of make a lap around the room. So I don't just stop at the doorway and go out the doorway. I kind of walk around the entire outer perimeter of the room, with everyone taking notice of me and me just kind of floating through, I guess you would say. Um, I go out into the back door, and the back door immediately leads out to a patio with a really nice pergola with ivy all over it. Um, the patio is about standard size. I mean, it's not anything massive or anything like that, nor is the backyard. And instead of walking around the patio, I immediately take a right around the back of the house. And this is really the only reason I say it's a house is because the yards. I mean, once I get out into the yard and I turn back and I look, it looks like a house. It's got a roof. It's got 2 stories. It had those really nice. I don't even know what to call them. The ceramic shingles on top of the roof. But I turn right, and after I turn right, I'm walking again along the perimeter of the backyard. I turn right, which the house runs directly into a fence. And as I walk around the perimeter of the fence, when I get to the back side of it, there's always something to take notice of outside of the fence. And it has to do with someone's regret. One of the first times I had this dream 3 times that was actually productive, and then I'll go into other things that details, because I've had this dream a total of 6 times so far.
Wow. Okay.
So the first time it was like a parade that was going by for somebody else, and it was like a mom's regret that she couldn't get that for her child. The second time was was me looking over and literally just seeing packs upon packs of dogs running through a street behind this fence. And someone mentioning someone needs to do something about those dang dogs. And the third time, which was kind of weird because the other 2 times it had been a street there, the third time there was like a creek behind it, and there was just this child who was trying to get through the fence to be able to go to play in the creek. So I make my way over to the left side of the yard, and I walk around the entire perimeter as well. And there's kind of like a side yard there, and I take notice of the side yard and kind of notice a conversation happening there, which has changed multiple times. But I end up walking through a gate. And this gate leads to slums, just like really messed up shanty town. Tin roofs that are all rusted out, buildings that are dilapidated, falling down, and people inside of it that are, quite frankly, just messed up. Missing body parts, holes in their bodies. And again, while I'm making my way around these perimeters, I'm not talking to anybody. And this slum area is the perimeter of it is no bigger than an alley that you would see on a city street. You know, it's not a big area, but I walk through it. There's various doorways, and people taking notice of me. And like I said, they're mangled. They are messed up. Here, give me just a second. My kid's walking in.
Oh, sure.
As long as you're good. Okay, you're not going far, right? Okay. Okay. So
That's fine.
go ahead and get
I can kind of
back
chop.
into
I
it.
can kind of chop that into it's from about 13, 15. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, no need to put you talking to your kid on the video. So yeah, so you were in the slums
So
and you
yeah,
were
it's,
there's through the doorways
uh,
there were more people. You said they were messed up, mangled. That's where you stopped.
yeah. I mean, they're really really messed up. You know, limbs kind of mangled, broken in different ways, holes in people. I mean, people missing half their faces, like stuff like that. Um, and again, I make my way around the perimeter of that, and after I make my way around the perimeter of that, um, there's just I nobody's talking to me. I'm not talking to anybody, but again, they're all taking notice of me and acting as if they know that I'm there. I go back through that fence, and when I go back through the fence, at this point, the backyard is now empty, if not. I mean, it's mostly empty, if not completely empty. There's been a couple of times where there's one or two stragglers there, um, and at this point is when I actually start talking to people. Um, so there's and I don't remember exactly the names. I recorded the names, and I'd have to go back through my notes but it's on my phone, which I'm on right
I
now.
think you might have typed it up in the channel under the Share Your Dream section. You put
I
some
did,
names in there.
yes.
Okay.
I
I'm not
did.
sure if the names are specifically meaningful. Maybe they are. We can come back around to that. But if you don't remember them right now, that's okay. And I think you froze up again.
Yeah, I mean that's
You're back.
exactly why I recorded them, because in that moment I remembered exactly who I was talking to, what they needed, and the tasks have been either helping someone find a lost item, helping someone find a family member inside of the household or in the yard, or just as simple as sitting down and listening to them talk. Um, the third time I had the dream was really notable, because really the first two times I guess I'll go into the rest of the dream before I start giving those details.
Okay. Yeah. We'll try and maybe keep a chronology, the most recent one, and then we can come back around. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, after that, um, I make my way through the house, um, going room to room. And this time, if there's anyone inside of the room, I take notice and literally make a beeline for them. And this is what happens. This time, I'm walking, uh, basically searching rooms for whoever needs my help, is what the feeling was, right? And like I said, the task can be as simple as listening to them talk. Like they just need to get something off their chest, and so I'll sit there and listen to what they have to say. It could be helping them find items. It could be helping them find a family member that was also inside of the household. Uh, um, at which point I go back to the foyer and I make my way through the house again, um, chronologically, just like I did before. Going into the kitchen, the dining area, around the perimeter of the backyard, through the slums, um, and then back into the house. And this is a detail that I missed. I'll turn right as I'm going through the kitchen, and there's a set of stairs that goes up and to the right, with, gosh, I want to say about 12 rooms along this hallway, 6 on either side. Yeah, and in fact, that's exact. 12 rooms on either side. 12 rooms, 6 on either side. And I just go from the front to, I clear each room like I would as if I'm searching a house for something. I go to the left room and the right room, and then go to the second set of rooms, left, right, third, left, right, so on and so forth. And like I said, at this point, I make my way back downstairs, and I turn right back into the foyer, and I kind of walk around the perimeter again. It's as if I'm doing a final sweep. But there's no one there this time. Each and every single time, there's just been no one there. After I make my way through the kitchen, dining room, backyard, slums, back into the backyard, dining room, kitchen, upstairs again, and each room, I'll walk back over to the foyer, and the old man is the only one that's still there. And he looks at me in the eyes and he says, "You are very dangerous because you can come go as you please." At this point, my attention is drawn to a biometric scanner that I stick my face next up to, and the doors open and I walk out, and that's the end of the dream.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's involved and detailed. I know that
For
it's
sure.
weird.
Probably at this point it'd be useful to maybe start talking about how it has changed over time, little by little, and if we can make some sense of that too. Why it's gone from people to now these entities, and it went from people to now they're dead people, then they're people being harmed or manipulated by entities, and then it's just the entities, and then they attack you. I mean, that progression seems significant.
Right? I that's kind of why I started looking to reach out. I'm perfectly fine with dreams in which I help people. It's kind of weird that I had it 3 times in a row. I took note when the last 2 people that I helped were dead, and then the next time I had the dream where, and I can't describe it as anything else. I mean, people were standing there, faces just completely contorted in pain, and these beings were reaching into their backs,
Mm-hmm.
and you could just, how you can tell when someone's forearm is squeezing something,
Yeah.
like it's just tightened up. It's reached in. There's reached in. Like, I don't know if I can put something into it in my own mind. It's like when I'm fixing my truck, right? My arm can be fully extended into the truck, but that doesn't mean I'm grabbing anything. But you can tell the difference between when I grab a part and I need that part to move.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really the best way I could say it. I mean, you could tell that these and they were all. I don't know why I noticed this, but they were all the arms. Each arm, both arms were reaching into the person from the backside.
So it wasn't just one; it was both.
And they were in different positions. It wasn't like each was just hugging the hips. It was like one's grabbing where the heart would be, one's grabbing where the stomach would be, one's grabbing where like the kidneys, the liver, and it seemed to be in places where that would make some serious pain. And it's almost like I got the feeling that they were causing disease.
Yeah.
That's specifically what I got the feeling of, that these people didn't know the entities were there, but they were dealing with it in a physical manifestation such as cancer or pancreatitis or something like that. These are literally the thoughts that I had while I was in the dream.
Sure, sure. And you
Like
said,
it wasn't.
oh, go ahead.
Oh no. I don't know. I
Okay,
don't know where
sorry,
I
I
was
didn't mean
going.
to interrupt.
I've lost.
I was coming back around to you said you'd spent quite a bit of time recently going maybe in and out of different hospitals to appointments, trying to figure out if you had a seizure disorder. So maybe you did run across a bunch of other people that had ailments of different kinds.
I mean, yeah, especially at the VA hospital.
That's kind of what I imagined.
But
Yeah.
there's kind of 'cause the VA hospital, you never have a room to yourself.
Ah,
You're always sharing a room with somebody, and it could be, a Vietnam veteran who's, shoot, I even shared a room with a World War II veteran
wow.
not too long ago, and I was like, oh my gosh, dude,
It's passing the torch.
you've got stories.
For sure, for sure.
But it's not just with the seizure disorder. For the past 5 years, I've been dealing with chronic pancreatitis, and they have
Okay,
no clue why.
gotcha.
I have it. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm not a druggie. All the things that cause pancreatitis are not present in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've tested me for these things and verified, yeah, you're not the stereotype
Yeah,
that
they
we
got to rule it
normally
out for
run
sure.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they've run. I didn't even know they could do this. They could run an alcohol screening through your stool. So they ran that on me, and they can tell like a week if you've had a drink a week
Wow.
ago.
That's like when they
And I
do
was
the
like,
hair test for LSD
no,
or something.
yeah. It really was. But I didn't know that they could do that. It was weird, and I
I
don't know if I
I
gave
didn't
too
know that
much
either.
detail there.
Yeah,
That
no,
was.
that's fine. That's fine. This is not a channel. This is not a 18 plus channel, but it's not specifically for kids. So you could curse like a sailor if you need to.
Yeah.
I tell people just feel free to express themselves however they need to.
Yeah. So I for the past 6 years of my life have been in and out of hospitals,
Okay.
surgeries, and just stays in immense amounts of pain as pancreatitis brings.
Oh yeah.
Um, so, I mean, it's kind of I've been going through some stuff
For
for
sure.
the past
Yeah.
5 years, man,
But then
and kind of just
this.
trying to.
But you haven't had this experience of like demonic presence torturing people in your dreams before. Is that kind of new?
If I'm being honest, no.
Okay.
But it's also not something that's new in my life. Um, I don't know if the shirt that I'm wearing says freedom.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm actually I serve in various churches as someone who deals with demonic oppression, and it's not like an exorcist like what you see in the movies or anything like
Hmm.
that. But there are specific processes of deliverance and ways to be able to, kind of like what we're doing now, methodically go through different parts of people's lives, identify if it's not even necessarily demonic influence, but an outside influence, and go through a way of ridding yourself from those
Sure.
things. And again, like you said before, we always preface it with, I'm not a counselor.
Yeah.
I'm not a therapist. I'm not anything. We're going to talk through. We're going to talk through some things. We're going to pray through some things, and we'll
I'm just here for you.
go
Right?
on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
For sure. Well, that's
so
oh, go ahead.
and we do, and we call the process deliverance. So
Mhm.
but dealing with the spiritual realm, and as far as anybody believes, I mean, I know these things exist for sure. I've dealt with them face to face, and maybe not face to face like I'm looking at you. It's not like crazy weird things like that.
Yeah.
But you deal with things, but we've gone through processes, and I've seen things in people's lives that we've been able to pray out and watch them walk in freedom. The reason I brought attention to the shirt is because it's from a conference that we hold every year. So everybody who's
Okay.
gone through deliverance process can come, but I'm not doing an advert. That's not what
Yeah.
I'm.
That's fine.
But
You can give a shout out. You're doing this
the
for free. You can say whatever you want.
well, the only reason I brought that up is because
It relates. Yeah.
the presence of entities and demonic presence and negative entities and negative presences is something that's not unfamiliar to me in the first place.
Gotcha.
Um,
Yeah. So I mean, definitely
and
to have that that experience, that framework show up in your dreams, it makes perfect sense. But while you were describing that, so me being a say non-theistic person, there's still very powerful metaphors to the idea of like we all have our demons. That's how we describe it, as these things that drive us
yeah,
towards making bad choices. And actually, if you go back to the original Greek, demon comes from the word daimon, which just meant an idea or influence that appeared to be external and then influences us in our behavior and our choices. So yeah, the idea of being possessed by a daimon, by an idea that takes you over and makes you want to do bad things, sinful things, things that aren't good for you. Sometimes those things possess us. It's even someone who's not religious. I get that metaphor. It's powerful, and it's true, and it makes sense. So anyway, I just wanted to give you that from my perspective.
yeah, no, I agree, and I've gone through the process with people who are not believers. I mean, it's not a requirement to be a Christian for me to be
Right?
able to talk to you and help you through things in your life.
Yeah.
If we happen to be able to identify things that need to be dealt with, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, as we say.
Oh yeah.
Um,
One of my favorite humanistic psychologists. I think it's now I'm going to screw it up. Rogers. I think his name is Rogers. Anyway, I'm not going to try and I'll get the name wrong, but he said two things are absolutely critical to the therapeutic relationship. Is one of them is just genuineness. Just be real. Just be yourself. Just be honest and say it like it is, and just be real with people. And the other thing is
100%.
unconditional positive regard. It's like, I want good things for you. Whatever I'm doing, it's to help you, not to hurt you.
Yeah.
And I care about you as a human. So as long as you're keeping it real and you're there to help, then you got something. You got the beginnings of helping. And I think if more people had just a friend, and that's what friends are for, and wise elders and social circles is this social support, and the idea of you can get feedback, you can get people to call you out on your bullshit, but then also help you pick up the pieces when you make a mistake or accidents happen. All of that's very, very therapeutic, very influential in keeping us healthy and on the right track. So it's
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. All the way.
That's good stuff. Well, listen to both of us intellectualizing maybe too much, getting further and further from the dream. we talked about the demonic entities and why they were present later in the dream in a way that they weren't before. So there's again that idea of travel. Not only are you looping through the house through different areas, but you're going back multiple times in the same dream, then repeating that across multiple iterations of the dream, but then it's changing over each iteration. There's you said in the first one there was a parade outside the fence, so each time you get to the fence you're seeing something new. Maybe that's something we could focus on.
Yeah. It literally was I don't know that there were floats or not balloons or whatever like that. It wasn't like the Macy's Day Parade, but it was almost like a local parade. They had decorated a couple of trailers and they were just driving down the street honking horns, that kind of stuff.
But they were celebrating something, honoring something.
Yeah, and like I said, the thing that stuck out to me about that, and the only reason I really remember it, is because there was a mom that was there that was literally like, I wish I could have got that for my kid.
Okay. But you didn't get the sense that the parade was for a kid or in honor of someone specific?
There's no details there. I didn't get any details about the parade. It was really just the mom sitting there looking at it going, I wish I could have got that for my kid, which, I mean, suggests things like maybe it was for a birthday, maybe it was in honor of someone, maybe it was, but it wasn't clear to me what the purpose of that was. It was just there. And then she spoke that to another person, while I wasn't paying attention. And when I turned around after hearing that, I got the same reaction as like staring. You're not involved here.
Huh.
Move on.
Interesting.
But it's like it's like in passing. I heard it. I turned around to go give my attention to it. And when I went to go give my attention to it, it was just moment over.
Yeah, that's interesting. You keep having that same experience too. That might be something to meditate on too. And what I try and do is there's describing the thing and then trying to describe the category of things that it belongs to. So there's maybe many individual, you got one type of chair, but then there's a lot of different type of chairs, and there's characteristics that make an object a chair versus a couch versus a dog. So sometimes if you think of it in those circumstances, that's where I try and pull out the theme of different things. You've got these conversations that stop when you pay attention to it, but everyone's staring at you, and there's got to be a theme there. I think I'm not grabbing onto what it is, but that feels important to me. I don't know where to go with it. Oh, did you freeze again?
No.
Okay. No, you're there.
No. I was just quiet listening.
Okay, gotcha. No, I think your picture froze, but that's fine. Let's.
Oh, did it?
That's
no.
Okay. We can still hear your voice.
But the second time, like I said, it was packs of dogs, many packs of dogs, but they were separate, running down the street, and seriously, just heard somebody say somebody's got to do something about these dang dogs, and then turned around, and again, same reaction. Dude was there, just stare at me like,
yeah,
why are you listening to me?
Huh.
And then the third time was different. There was a creek on the other side of the fence instead of a street.
Yeah, and you said there was like a child trying to get through the fence, like trying to squeeze through.
Trying to like climb the fence,
climb
like
over the
jumping.
Fence.
Yeah,
jumping, trying to grab the top of the fence.
Yeah, but
okay.
it was like a small child.
Okay.
Not
going to reach the top.
7 or 8 years old.
Yeah. Not
reaching the top of an 8-foot tall fence, which is what I got the idea that it was tall. It was tall.
Okay, tall. Yeah.
But and in fact, if I'm looking at it, I don't even know. I mean, I saw over it, so I don't even know how I saw over it to be able to see it. But I saw the creek on the other side.
Huh.
And I don't remember climbing up on anything. I just remember kind of like float up, look, there's a creek.
Okay.
Float up, look, there was a pack of dogs. The parade I saw because it towered over the fence.
Okay, so you were able to see the parade over the fence. That's why I got the idea of the child trying to squeeze through. I thought you could see through the fence, but apparently solid, just tall wood fence.
Wood panels, privacy fence.
Okay, gotcha. Interesting.
Yeah. Everything outside is shut out, but there is something out there.
There's got to be something in that too. I mean, this if each place kind of represents its own unique idea or way of looking at things. The idea of the backyard is there's themes of moving through, themes of searching, but the themes of compartmentalization as well. Like the backyard it's outdoors, but it's fenced in, and there's things going on the outside of it, and they're different things all the time. I don't know if that brings anything to mind. The idea of compartmentalized.
Honestly, outside of really compartmentalizing the slums, I don't have anything there. I've kind of thought about what it might mean that I go upstairs and search different rooms.
Yeah, we hadn't even gotten back around to that yet.
Yeah. But yeah, even there being a side yard that you can really only see. You can really only see the side yard when you're standing at the fence or the corner of the house. It's like it comes into view. But I don't get anything there. I've kind of tried to think about what in the world that was, but it's just kind of like,
so you have to
just floated through.
So you follow the fence around to the right hand side, and at the back is where these different instances of communicating or hearing things or seeing something.
Yeah, not at the back corner, but it's always when I get to the center of the fence.
So kind of, and then back in the center,
right.
And then you can look over and you see there's this additional little side yard that only becomes visible from that one position.
Right. It only comes into full view when you're at the gate, about to go into. And again, people have taken notice of me. I remember. Whoa, I remember the first time I had the dream. There was somebody in the side yard that addressed me. It's like I knew him, but I can picture this person, but I don't recognize him at all.
That memory just came back to you?
Yeah. I honestly didn't even think about it.
I think I just watched it happen.
Now.
Bing. Yeah. That's crazy.
This guy just looked at me as I was about to go back into the fence, and as I was about to open the gate, and he said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And I was like, "Man, you've lost a lot of weight." And he was like, "Yeah, I have."
That was it. That was the whole interaction. But it seemed to be someone you knew.
That was it. Right. But I don't, if I picture this guy.
Doesn't look like anyone you actually know.
Not really.
Okay. Fair enough.
Tall, red hair, curly, no beard like you, so I don't know if that.
Gotcha. Yeah. That is interesting. In this place where you're searching, you found at least one familiar, friendly face. And this only happened once, the first time through, you say?
But it was the first time I had the dream, and that was it.
Okay. And then as far as you know, across other dreams,
and actually,
you never found that again, or the person wasn't there?
No. Oh. And as I'm thinking about that guy, I remember the names of the guys. It was Elena and Claudia that I helped in the first dream.
Okay. And those were the people that you said they were missing something, and they were upstairs in the rooms?
Yeah, well, Elena was in the backyard, and I walked with her into the house where she found another person that she connected with and left. Claudia was in one of the rooms upstairs. And she had lost a watch that was important to her.
Okay.
She was the only person in the rooms, but we literally went room to room looking for this watch. I helped her find it. I found it underneath of like a little nightstand and handed it to her and
gave it back.
Bye, and she's gone.
Okay.
And that was really it. The people in the second time I had the dream, I never helped them find anything. I literally just talked to them. As I'm picturing it, I can remember one of their names is Adam.
Okay.
And it literally was just having this conversation, like a conversation like you and I are having right now.
Okay.
Kind of logically sorting through things. And once they came to a moment where they were like, yeah, that makes sense, they were gone.
Okay. They got what they needed. That kind of resonates with the idea of service in a way, like maybe related to your faith, the idea of being of service to fellow human beings, but also in yourself. This what comes to mind with me is being useful, productive, accomplishing something of value. I don't know if any of that resonates with you. Like the reason you would be doing something purposeful or completing a task in the dream would related to your desire to be doing something productive?
Yeah, no, that definitely rings true. I mean, it was, um, I don't know. There's something to me. There's something really to the methodical survey of the area
Mm-hmm.
before I ask anyone if they need help.
Hmm.
Um, it's almost like when I walk through, I have upset the energy of the room, which makes some people leave.
Because when you come back, there's less people.
There's no one there except for inside of the house, outside of the house in the slums. There's no one there.
Huh. If we
And
go
in
with
fact,
the oh, go ahead.
if I'm really looking at it, I don't even look for anybody to help in the slums.
Yeah.
I kind of just make my rounds through it, go back through, and then I go through the backyard
I mean,
looking for someone to help, into the dining room, kitchen, upstairs, back around, and then I make a round through the slums, noticing that it's empty.
yeah, and that may be representative of the idea that you're not ready to offer those ideas or issues your attention yet. You're focusing on other things first, maybe more immediate concerns, and it may relate a little bit to the idea of you being stuck at home. Your world has become more focused around the inside of your own house, your kids, the caretaking and whatnot. So the issues that are literally out, metaphorically and literally outside the home, even in the backyard, and certainly outside of the gates to your property, are less and less important. Um, but what was I going to say about? Damn, I had another thought too. Um, Something about helping people inside the house. The idea occurred to me that if you go through and you do the methodical observation, that's like it brings to mind the idea of a triage. You're looking for something, or you're looking to find something, and you're seeing a lot of things, and even those things are telling you it's not us. We're not the things you're looking for. They're like, it doesn't matter what our conversation is, that's not relevant to your search. And then when you come back, all the irrelevant things are gone, and now there's just the people that you can, just the ideas you're going to focus on that are worthy of your attention. Is that making sense?
That does.
Okay.
It really does. I mean, I'm not just. And it does.
Okay.
And believe it or not, I am happy at this point to find a a possible answer that doesn't involve me actually walking through the spiritual realm, because that's not something that I relish. That's not something
Yeah.
that sounds like the most fun to me, to deal with that on a nightly basis.
Well, at least if you're going to be there,
Because
you're going to be the dangerous one. That's the good news. Right?
right.
But it would be better if this is really just an exploration inside your own head, but with very relevant and meaningful spiritual metaphors going on, because that's important to you. And
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, that would just be one reason, potential reason, just something that occurred to my mind about why people would be, the things in the dream represented by people, why they would be absent on subsequent pass-throughs. It was certainly in the same episode of the dream, because you're going through once and then again, and then kind of the verification third pass, and that triage is what comes to mind. That idea of weeding out the things that aren't relevant, focusing on the things that are relevant. That's when you find the people that, okay, here's something I can do. Here's a problem I can solve. And that also kind of relates to my idea of why the transition to more of the demonic things, is that you may be experiencing more roadblocks to successfully identifying useful things, productive things, and successfully engaging in carrying out those things. So you're getting this idea of evil forces pushing back on you, keeping you from making progress, keeping you from finding purpose and engaging in meaningful activity. I don't know if that resonates at all, or if that's just an idea. That's
Yeah.
That's all I got right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's almost, I mean, even the people that look at me, even the people that look at me the first time I walk through the party, it's almost like I can control what they're doing. And even even if we're looking at the entities, and I've shied back from calling them demons because
I've been
I don't
doing
get
that. That's my fault. I'm sorry. You did
No,
call
no,
them entities. Yeah.
Yeah, I've shied back from calling them demons. They're just not human. But I don't get the feeling of specific evil.
Okay, fair enough.
Just dark, but nondescript forms.
Okay. And that may not relate to evil as much as the darkness is, especially dark, shadowy forms tend to represent. Well, I can't say it's personal, but there's a feeling to it of unknown cause, something indistinct. It's dark, it's shadowy, it's hazy. It can't be seen clearly. So that suggests the idea of not understanding what it is, how it works, how to fix it, how to change it, what it wants. It's just there, and it has to be dealt with.
Well, that even may relate. This is ringing in my head. That even may relate to, because even going through and seeing, squeezing different organs, causing pain, the idea of torturing and everything like that. But methodically, I was able to go up to each one of those things as a doctor would and just know what to do with them, even if I didn't know what I was doing, which kind of, again, I felt like I was out of control of the situation, but the situation was under control.
Almost as if you were just a conduit through which resolutions were being dispensed.
It just happened.
Okay. I get that feeling sometimes too. I had
nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
But it happened.
There's a spiritual metaphor to that of like divine inspiration, or being a conduit for the power of God to come through. And it's like, it wasn't me. I don't know. I don't even know what I just did. It just happened. I've had those experiences.
Especially when you're sitting there going like, I don't even know that language. Yeah. I don't know what I just said, but this thing knew what I was saying.
Yep.
So whatever, it's the same thing as, I don't know. There's nothing that I can equate it to. It's just this experience that's, no, I mean, there are things that I can equate it to, but it's completely spiritual. I mean, I've had spiritual epiphany moments where we're talking about deliverance and things like that, where I'm just sitting there going like, oh, that's what we're talking about. Yeah. We're not talking about what you're saying. This is what we're talking about. Okay. Now I know how to address this.
Yeah. There's those moments of getting a grip on what's happening, and finally understanding how you can be useful to solve the problem, or to help someone see what they need to do, or the better way to approach it. Yeah, for sure. And then that might kind of relate to your own experience of later in the most recent dream. You said coming into the backyard and you were ambushed by the shadow dark figures. How did that play
like
out?
I said, so in between those two, like I said, there were 30 of these entities that were literally just standing in different points of the yard. None of them were inside. They were all in the backyard. They were standing in different points of the backyard. And the first time, so the fifth time I've had this dream, they didn't ambush me. It's like they were watching, going, okay, let's see how this guy fights.
Huh.
like studying my movements, studying what I was saying. And it was kind of the same thing. There were things out of my control that were happening, but each and every single time there was no fight. In the first time I had the dream with these entities, the people were gone, but these entities at least gave some resistance, like sitting there saying like, I'm not going anywhere, you can shut up.
Okay.
Does that make sense? But eventually through methodical or through something happening that was beyond my control, it just happened that they left.
Okay.
The second time there was no fight. They were just literally watching me. Let's see what this guy does. That sixth time that I've had the dream, which was literally last night, and I don't know if you can tell, I am exhausted. I've not slept for a few days now.
Okay.
Except for like little bits, because this has been wrecking my mind, and I'm sitting there going, what in the world is this?
Yeah.
But this sixth time that I had this dream, which was last night, really honestly earlier this morning, there was the feeling. I walked through the house. I walked through the doorway. The old man was there. He told me I was very dangerous because I could come and go as I pleased. The house was empty. No noises, nothing. It was literally just me going along the perimeter with emptiness until I got to the backyard. Both times, the fifth and sixth time I've had this dream. The fifth time where there was no resistance and they left. But again, it didn't feel like a defeated enemy. It felt like, okay, we're gathering info. That's what we're doing. And then the sixth time that I had the dream, there was no talk. There was nothing. I went through that doorway, and I didn't even have a chance to turn right to be able to go around the perimeter of the backyard. I was walking straight out onto the patio, and as soon as I walked straight out onto the patio, I can't even tell you how many, but I got this specific feeling of getting my ass beat.
Sorry, he's gonna.
And that's kind of what happened.
Yeah. Sorry, he has his lovey times. So immediately, not immediately. You came through on this most recent time, and all the people were gone, or what the people represent was missing from the dream for a reason. It was emptiness, still, silent. You go through the rooms, you follow your normal path, and you get to the backyard where you've been a bunch of times before.
Yeah.
You lay on my papers? Okay, just lay on the papers. Jesus. I'm not doing anything important here. You are the center of attention. Jesus. Okay. Oh, he's a sunny boy. All right. I think he's good.
It's so funny. That's exactly how my husky is too.
We're just gonna keep him away from the keyboard. We're still recording. Okay.
Yeah, as you can see, when he came into the room, his snout was right there, and I don't know why he didn't do his dive roll across my lap and lick me all over the place. So that's what he does. So at least yours is what, 8 pounds?
Maybe so. Yeah, roundabout. He's not tiny, but he's not huge. He's not a fatty.
I've got a 65-pound husky that thinks he's a lap dog that rolls in my lap and gives me the love.
Yeah, well, that's why we love them. Imagine if they didn't pay any attention to us. They just kind of sat in the corner, didn't want to be touched, didn't want us to interact with them. That's not even having a pet. It's like having a goldfish.
Yeah, well, and we have some koi fish in the house.
Sometimes they're pretty.
My son has some koi fish,
but they don't cuddle.
And we love them too.
Yeah.
No,
exactly.
Only me, but they do let me reach into the tank now and scratch their stomach.
Oh my god, that's kind of special. That is, yeah.
It is really cool because I feed them every day, and it's really cool.
It's almost like sitting still at a park and putting out your hand, and the squirrels come and eat off it. You feel special. You feel like you're.
Yeah.
You feel like
Snow
I
am the chosen one.
The chosen one. Yes, I am the squirrel whisperer. Okay, back to the experience. So yeah, the house being very, very empty, and if we were relating it to, this is inside your mind, an exploration of different compartmentalized areas. Previously, it was full of ideas. They were telling you they were the wrong ideas, but at least they were aspects, things you could consider. And now,
if I'm
yeah,
if I'm thinking back, it was really the fourth, fifth, and sixth time the house was empty.
Okay.
And really the only place that I dealt with anything was in the backyard. So at the arrival of these entities, the house was silent except for that old man. And everything that I dealt with was in the backyard.
Yeah, there feels like something significant to the idea of once you've been through enough triage processes, then you've actually eliminated the things that are irrelevant, and now the things that are left are the things that have to be dealt with. And it's interesting that you make the same loop, and the loop takes you all the way out to the slums and back, but this time, before you could get through the backyard, before you set foot in the backyard, they stopped you. They're like, you're not going any further. You're not even going to make it to the slums. So I think there's something significant there, that the whatever it is inside of you that's trying to express itself is putting up a barrier to progress, to progressing, to going deeper inside yourself, to have a look at what's there. I don't know if that makes any sense to you. That's the feeling I'm getting from the they're going to stop you. They're so serious. They're going to kick your ass and kick you out. Just to stop you from finishing your loop. The loop you do every time.
That's so crazy. Yeah.
Something feels significant there for you too in that idea.
Yeah, and I mean, if I'm just going to be completely open, which I mean, I've said I am going to be anyway. I'm an open book
as much as you're comfortable with. Yeah, that's fine.
With different experiences that I've had in my life, we've been unpeeling a lot of issues with how I see myself and self-worth. Does it make any sense? Right?
I think so. Yeah. That's taking a deep dive into your own psyche, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been revealing, to say the least, and we're not even done delving into everything that's there.
Sure, it's almost a lifelong process.
Gosh, but you know what? You got to start somewhere, right?
You do, yeah. You got to peel that onion, and then fry it up and make onion rings, because those are delicious.
Yeah, but yeah, they are. I'm allergic to onions, but the only way I can eat them is onion rings. So
and sometimes it's worth
that's
it.
the great
thing. Just a couple of them. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I don't mean to make jokes.
But no, that does ring true though. It's almost as if I'm making actual progress, and if we're going with the theme of this entire plot of land, being me, it's almost like I'm ambushing my own progress.
You may be sensing some of your own reluctance to get at unpleasant.
Well,
that unpleasant area to look at. Yeah,
that is real. It's not. And like you said, as long as we're peeling back layers, just don't get too deep.
Yeah, and some things, and it may not be a bad thing. Like the thought that struck me was that you didn't sense these things were evil necessarily. They were the cause of pain for some of those ideas, but they had never caused you pain. The only thing they did here was kick your ass in a kind of stopping you from moving forward kind of way. And it could be that maybe let's see, rather than latching on to just the idea that this is resistance that you have to break through to keep making progress. Maybe there's a part of you also saying, don't move too fast. Maybe you're not ready for some of this stuff right now. And those shadowy things might not be, they might be doing you a favor. I don't know. I don't know which side it is. Well, they might be a roadblock to overcome, and they might be actually part of yourself saying, slow down.
Well,
one step at a time.
One thing that crossed my mind earlier was that, the beating only continued as long as I was trying to go through them.
Okay.
As soon as and this occurred to me before we even started talking about them, as I was describing what happened whenever I went through the house, it kind of clicked to me, like, whenever I turned to go back into the house and out, they weren't grabbing me. They weren't holding me.
They were hands off. They're like, now you're going a direction we find acceptable. We're not going to stop you.
That's exactly what it was like. It was almost a police barricade for a riot,
Gotcha.
As long as you're over there on that side and you're this safe distance away from us, we will leave you alone.
They're not going to chase you, but don't cross the line. You don't want that to happen. Are you there?
Okay, I'm back now.
We're back. Yes. I don't know if you heard me.
Weird technology.
Yeah, you said that. I was agreeing. I was agreeing with the police barricade analogy. It's fantastic. That's as long as that feels correct to you. It seems like it did.
And that's kind of exactly what it felt like. I mean, I don't want to make any equations to the police or anything like that. We're not here for political discussion, but a barrier.
a barrier, and some kind of enforcers to say, and that's a good question too. And it would be interesting to see, and you can check back in with me too. Now, once you kind of isolate, analyze, interpret some of these elements, try and link them up, give them some meaning, that should change the nature of any future dreams. Because it's like, why does a dream come back? Because whatever it is you're struggling to understand, you haven't figured it out yet, or you feel like you haven't explored it fully enough, and so your brain's, it's like stuck in a loop, coming back around to these reoccurring dreams. Or so if we've hit some of the right notes, if we've touched on some of the correct interpretations, it should change the nature of the dream in some way, although it's been changing all along. But maybe next time you fall asleep, you get to the backyard and you're just like, hey guys, and they're like, what's up? And you don't try to go through them and they don't hurt you, but you realize, okay, you're on to something there. My thought would be, I thought in general about your situation, which was that being someone who's had a lot of their personal identity stripped from them through calamity and different medical stuff, and now you're taking up a different set of responsibilities, and you're struggling with the new responsibilities and to understand yourself in this new context. You may be the kind of person who's driven, what am I trying to say? You might be pushing yourself too hard to make certain kinds of progress, and that's why I can't get through I can't get over the idea that the shadowy, the unknown forces may not be enemies. They may be a part of yourself trying to protect yourself from doing more harm than good for a good reason, if that makes sense. They're kind of there to protect you from screwing yourself over by pushing too hard, too fast. I don't know why I'm stuck on that idea.
No, I relate to that.
Okay.
And I don't mean to be just like a yes man or anything like that. I don't know how often you have people agree with you this much, but
pretty often. I'm good at this, and humble, extremely humble.
Yeah. Well, hey, if this is any indication, you're very good at what you're doing here. So
I
well
appreciate
done.
that. I just make suggestions, ideas occur to me, and they connect with you or they don't. And if they do, I'm very happy.
No, I am that type of person. If an idea takes hold, I'm at it all in.
Okay.
I'm going for broke. So yeah, I have done that to myself more times than I can count.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's like the analogy of a road being built and a car trying to drive along it. The road's not built, so you can't go there. And even if you do push through the barricades and everything like that, you find yourself in an unplowed field or in a muddy pit where you're stuck in the first place. It is the best way I can describe what I have done to myself in the past.
And it's really hard to be patient with some of these processes too, because they take time and you can't finish it as fast as you want to. God, I know that feeling. I really do. Can we just get on with it? I'm ready.
Yeah, it was like I know the end result. Let's get there so that I can walk in it. That's all I want. Let's just no. Sure. Yeah, that's I really identify with that statement.
Okay.
Whether it be in my personal life, whether it be in my professional life, you know, I like to be a little too ambitious for my own good.
Yeah.
Ambition is not a bad thing, but ambition unchecked becomes rage, which is a bad thing.
Yeah, certainly can.
So,
or you get in over your head, and what could have succeeded if you'd been a little more patient turns into a disaster. Yeah, I've had that happen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely.
Well, about 2 hours ago, I was in over my head, and I had no idea where we were going with this. I had no idea if I could offer any insights that would be useful. And we just, I think between the two of us, we showed that determination to get it done, and we just kind of followed the road and saw where it took us.
A little bit of grit and honesty, and the world can go round.
It sure does. Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you too. Is like, do you feel like we've gotten through most of the important elements you wanted to kind of look at? Were there more questions you had for me? Or I don't want to keep you too long. Like I said, we've been at this almost 2.5 hours, which is not a problem.
Yeah, no,
I don't want to drag it on forever.
Right. No, I do. I mean, there are certain elements that I want to look at, but I kind of feel like I have to analyze them a little bit more myself. Sorry, phone's pointing up at the ceiling. And
that's okay.
No. Specific tasks for specific people, and I've written those down, what each task was, why that would be important. But honestly, it does ring true with me. People are very important to me. I enjoy nothing more than helping someone to where they need to be.
Yeah.
Whether it be through teaching, through working alongside, whether it be, which I think is what this year has made me so successful in homeschooling my children, because I don't know if I mentioned that detail. We're homeschooling my children because of all of this COVID and everything, the unsureness of the school districts. We're like, you know what, we'll just do it at home.
Yeah.
But honestly, and I've kind of looked at this as well. I think that's what has made me successful in that, because I find joy in assimilating new concepts, tasks, thoughts to people that are productive in their own lives.
And not only that, you enjoy helping people, and now you get to help your own children grow in a more direct,
oh my gosh,
in a more direct manner. That's fantastic.
It is. It's so cool, especially when they there's a different connection when you taught them something earlier that day, and then they come up to you later that day and say, "Daddy, look what I did," and you're like, "Yeah, dude, I taught you that earlier today. That's awesome."
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah. So honestly, my entire nature is oriented around people and helping people, and I love it. That's the way I've always been. I don't see that ever changing about me. And that's kind of what I've been looking at. If there is a way forward, it has to be not just a something, not just an opportunity, not just an opportune moment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I've grabbed onto opportune moments before, just because it was what was available at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And while they may have been productive for that moment, they didn't lead anywhere.
Yeah.
So right now I'm really looking at it going, if there is a way forward, I have to drop back and punt and look at it and go, okay, what really do I need to do here?
Yeah, it's good to be aware of and open to opportunities, but it's not reliable to count on luck basically to give you your next step. You got to be a little more methodical, plan it out, have a plan, know what you're doing, execute it. Yeah, I can imagine that's a lot of what you're dealing with right now too, huh?
Yeah, and not just that, but I made the comment earlier, and I've been working, and I've found myself saying it a lot. I've been working since I was 15 years old. But I look at all those jobs, and while I may have enjoyed them, I'm sitting there going, they didn't give me any personal fulfillment.
It's except just for resource acquisition. Yeah.
A task accomplished.
Yep.
And so I can say that I'm in a place right now where I'm really looking at it going, okay, I have an opportunity to step back and go, what do I enjoy?
And that can be a very scary thing too. That's a searching process all on its own. It's like, wait a minute, I don't have these external controls telling me who I am. Now I got to make it up on my own. What do I do?
Yep.
I don't know either. Yeah. Well,
that is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I was just going to say, I think I've taken enough of your time, and I can hear my dog barking out back. I should go find out what he's doing. We got a little tiny Maltese named Peanut, and he thinks he's bigger than the raccoons. He's not. So I'm going to go find out what he's doing. Yeah. But
that's probably a good thing to do.
Yeah. But you feel pretty good about this experience. We at least came up with some pretty good ideas, something to think about.
I do. There's a lot to process. There's a lot to unpack, but I don't feel uneasy about any of it.
That's good.
I definitely feel like there's some sort of resolution, whether it be incomplete or complete. At least it's in view.
We got some ideas that kind of make sense. That's a good start. And you meditate on it. I guess, a little bit.
Yeah. And I have no doubt you're gonna follow up and ask questions. So
yeah, I'll do the
ideas.
I'll do the little debrief thing, and I'll kind of throw up some more ideas I had after going back and listening to this again, especially since the first time I just kind of abandoned my process and just flew by the seat of my pants. It's a little scary for me too. I felt these creatures reaching into me saying, ask him this. And it worked. And they weren't my enemies. They were just weird. Anyway. So hey, hang out after I kill the stream, and we'll talk for a minute more. But as of right now, I'll just say to everybody watching, hey, if you like what I do, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you next time on another episode of Dreamscapes.